Monday Night Matchup is brought to you by Mazda, maker of the new generation RX-7, the 626, 323, and V2000 trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value.
Hi, I'm Steve Sabol, and along with former two-time NFL Coach of the Year, Allie Sherman, welcome to Monday Night Matchup. Tonight it's a contest between two teams with colorful and distinctive personalities. The Chargers are 3-4, and they play a blend of dazzling offense and wake-me-when-it's-over defense that keeps both teams in the game. Their opponents tonight, the Raiders, have won 4 in a row, and in the process, they've demonstrated the truth of an old and honored football axiom. A skilled, vicious defense is still the key to victory, Coach.
I love it. Wake me later. That's great. Steve, you stated the exact contrast between these two ball clubs. Strong defense against strong offense. But in fact, there's a strange quality of sameness to these clubs. And that number one, neither is a complete club, but each possesses individual superstars in many positions. The Chargers on offense have Fouts, Winslow, and Chandler. The Raiders on offense have Marcus Allen, Todd Christensen. On defense, Mike Haynes and Howie Long. The difference is that the Chargers have all of their stars on offense, and they don't have enough supporting cast to be able to play 4 quarters of consistent football.
We'll be right back with a look at some of these superstars right after this message.
Don't tell me you know about turbos until you go have some fun with this little puppy. The turbo on Mazda's new 626 GT is a new design that lights up at low RPMs and stays lit. But maybe you're not ready for this much fun.
Introducing Mazda's new 626 GT Turbo. 0 to 60 in 8.1, top speed 119, and a price thousands less than you'd expect for this level of performance.
Careful now, this one's mine.
Betty Dorfman before the Nikon One Touch. Betty after the Nikon One Touch. The Parfit family before the Nikon One Touch. The Parfit family after. Mr. Dennis Pinkstaff before. Mr. Pinkstaff after.
This is great.
The new autofocus autoflash Nikon One Touch. It's so easy to use, it's given thousands of people something they've always wanted.
Oh, the baby's a week old. Got any pictures?
Pictures they can be proud of.
Give me a light. Go! Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light.
Thank you.
Because everything else is just a light.
When people think of the Los Angeles Raiders, the phrase most often associated with them, right after just win, baby, is go long, baby.
That has been true, Steve, but when we take a look at Mark Wilson, we know that he hasn't been able to duplicate that let's go long, baby era of Jim Plunkett. Jim could have the worst first half you'd ever see, but in the second half, he'd come back and throw the best productive long bombs anybody could want. Mark Wilson hasn't shown the ability to pick that Raider offense right up and ignite it.
Well, Allie, Wilson hasn't had much pass protection either. As a matter of fact, in the AFC, only the Oilers have allowed more sacks than the Raiders. And although Los Angeles is winning, their offense is no longer the intimidating, swift-striking force that once terrorized the NFL. The Raiders' offense can still be a thing of beauty, but there have been times when it's been downright ugly, and quarterback Mark Wilson has been thrown around like a rag doll. If he has time, Wilson can throw long, but with the exception of number 85, Dokie Williams, all the wide receivers are inexperienced. So, LA has traded in its flashy Hollywood look for a more conservative three-piece suit attack, going to tight end Todd Christensen, 46, on safe, reliable patterns. While the magic is missing from the offense, there's still plenty of muscle on the Raiders' defense. They lead the AFC in interceptions returned for touchdowns. Defenders like Lester Hayes, number 37, are the big stars in Hollywood this year. While their neighbors to the south, the Chargers, have defenders who are nothing more than supporting players.
Well, that defense has made some progress, Steve, as you see here with a sack, but I must say they still work without any kind of authoritative movements and direction. Look at this man, wide open. So they've got a ways to go.
Well, Allie, it's the same old San Diego Chargers, a leaky defense that must be bailed out by Dan Fouts and his brilliant receivers. After missing 3 games with injuries, Fouts is once again flinging footballs all over the field, hoping he can score points faster than the Charger defense gives them away.
Steve, I'd like to make a motion for a special Dan Fouts Hall of Fame. He is one of a kind.
Now, be careful, Coach. One of your old quarterbacks might be watching. What happens if Fran Tarkenton or Y.A. Tittle hears that?
I wouldn't be surprised. I'll bet Francis is on the phone right now. But, you know, they didn't have to be confronted with the uphill battle that Dan Fouts had with the Chargers. No defense over all of these years. And, boy, that is tough. He had to show amazing mental toughness and resiliency. I'll bet you in season right now, it's Sunday morning, he gets up at 7:30 ready for the pregame meal, and he's saying to himself, well, I've got to get 30 to 35 points to be in the ball game. I may get a little tired because it's going to be uphill. Me, I'd feel so depressed just thinking about it. I'd get tired and I'd go back to bed. Nobody has been asked to confront what he has on defense, but not just for 1 or 2 years, but over all of the years of his career. He's just great.
But, Allie, I think Fouts has also gotten a lot of help from his coach, Don Coryell. Coryell has contoured his system to fit the skills of Fouts. Fouts is not a scrambler, so Coryell doesn't ask him to scramble. Fouts doesn't have the league's strongest arm, so Coryell doesn't ask him to put the ball up 60 yards. And to me, Fouts is like a pitcher with an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. He's not a fireballer, but he throws accurately and always to the right spot.
Fouts' ability to read and react to different defensive pressures, Steve, with or without blitz, is among the best of all time, I think. We know that all quarterbacks have to confront these defensive pressures. But we're going to take a look at the one who I think is the best at reacting to defenses. We all see 3 blitzing linebackers. Fouts also sees, and with that, he throws a perfect pass to the correct receiver. He is the best. Case closed.
Well, tonight, Fouts will be facing the AFC's leading quarterback sacker. We'll be back with a look at Howie Long.
Congress South Self-Storage introduces a new development in self-storage, a dry, secure place to store whatever valuables you don't have room for in your home or office. Over 660 storage units at Congress South Self-Storage are accessed only with your personalized security code and protected by an on-site tenant. Call 445-0050 or come by 7112 South Congress and ask about our move-in service today. Congress South Self-Storage, 7112 South Congress.
Don's Grass and Landscaping has all of your landscaping needs for your business or home. Select from hundreds of Halloween pumpkins, firewood, trees and plants, and a large supply of St. Augustine and Raleigh grass for your fall planting. Don's Grass and Landscaping, 6408 Brody Lane, halfway between William Cannon and 290 West.
Not 12, 11, 10, or 9, but 8.8. Announcing GMAC 8.8% financing on all new 1985 S15 pickups and Jimmys by GMC Truck. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, long bed, short bed. Every 1985 S15 pickup and Jimmy in stock. 8.8 can save you an average of $1,000 in finance charges on S15 pickups. $1,400 on S15 Jimmys. Now's the time to see your nearby GMC truck dealer, because 8.8 won't last long.
The Raiders' defense leads the AFC in sacks and also has allowed the fewest yards rushing. But it's their personality, not their statistics, that truly defines them. I can see them on a movie marquee. Wilder than the Wild Bunch, dirtier than the Dozen, more magnificent than the Seven. The ringleader of this gang is Howie Long, and the one man who must be controlled if you're going to defeat the Raider defense. Number 75 has no weaknesses. He can rush the passer or play the run. He's the most dominant defensive player in the game. The Raiders use Howie Long from one end of the line to the other, matching him up against different people, trying to confuse the offensive linemen. In the 3-man line, he's used as an end, like here against Cleveland last week. Long can play left end, or he can switch over to right end, where his speed and power can get him around most offensive tackles. Howie Long is just as tough to stop when the Raiders move him inside to tackle. Here, he makes running the middle especially difficult because he can defeat the trap block of a pulling guard and make the tackle. What the Raiders are hoping to create by moving Long around is matchups with different offensive linemen. On a pass rush, Long is usually too much for one man. It's easier to get a one-on-one matchup at end, but even when Long is inside at tackle, he has shown the rare ability to overcome the odds by defeating double-team blocking and creating havoc. Many defenders draw double teams, but only a few attract triple team blocking. Howie Long is a member of that select group. His ability to occupy as many as 3 blockers is just as important as a sack because it frees his teammates to make the play. Opponents should block him with a tackle, a guard, the center, 2 halfbacks, a water boy, and even the team chaplain, because no single blocker can match up. Howie Long. He's the enforcer, the terminator, and the equalizer, all wrapped into one. And the Chargers will have their hands full controlling him tonight.
When you think of the way to match up against a very strong defensive pressure, like a Howie Long who can be lined up in many different positions, you first think about offensive linemen. But bear in mind that offensive linemen, and let's use this offensive left tackle here as an example, he studies films all week long as to the characteristics of that defensive lineman and how to handle him best. Just like a wide receiver has to study films all week long as to how he can beat that cornerback. Okay, now the left tackle has got this man down pat. But the Raiders are pretty smart. They say, Howie, you come on over here and you give this guy a workout. Now he has to study Howie Long, too. What does that do? It doubles his mental and physical pressure. And as a result, he's just not as effective as he would be just working for one man. So therefore, we say it isn't the offensive line that matches Long. In this case with the Chargers, the matchup is Dan Fouts, the quarterback. And how does he do that? Dan Fouts, with his ability to read and react and throw quick, short passes, can hit his backs coming into short zones, his tight ends, and you've heard the term read. What it simply means is he's watching the movement of these linebackers, and when he reads a linebacker leaving that receiver, bang, there goes a trigger. And you've taken care of the minimizer here. He's the minimizer of the great exterminator, Howie Long. The major goal of Raider defense is to physically and mentally intimidate an offense. Fouts can minimize this with his short passing game. And we've got some great illustrations as to how they do this. Here we see the war between Charger back Lionel James, number 26, and Seahawk linebacker Greg Gaines, who has the pass defense responsibility of covering James. We can't see Fouts' eyes, but you can bet as he drops back, he's reading the linebacker's move, ready to react to James' break. Remember, Fouts, quickest of them all, read and react. General Fouts and his troopers, tight ends Eric Sievers and Pete Holohan, in the war against Bengal linebacker Leo Zander, number 91. We'll see Holohan and Sievers run their patterns, and Fouts will read the reaction of that linebacker. Holohan's move will occupy number 91. Then, Sievers will trail with Fouts reacting to him, the open man. Another part of the passing war, blitzing linebackers with man-for-man coverage for the safeties. Here, last year against the Raiders, we see tight end Pete Holohan, number 88, going in motion to the same side as tight end Kellen Winslow. At the snap of the ball, here comes the linebacker blitz by Matt Millen, number 55. And Rod Martin, number 53. Fouts drops back, reads the blitz, and reacts to the receiver who has beaten that man-for-man coverage, tight end Holohan. Here's a perfect example of read and react by quarterback Fouts and tight end Kellen Winslow against the Raiders. As the two Raider inside linebackers drop into their pass coverage assignments, Winslow reads where the open area will be, and Fouts, in silent communication with him, also reads and reacts with his quick trigger. As you see, Fouts' great ability to read and react with the pass is the best matchup for the Raiders' intimidating defense.
If you've got your mind all made up about small cars, then you're watching the wrong commercial. But if you'd like to learn about something special, this new Mazda 323 is built on an extra rigid platform to give it the ride of a larger car. It could just change your mind about small cars.
Introducing the all-new fuel-injected Mazda 323 sports sedan. So refined and so advanced, it's the road car of small cars.
But don't listen to me. Drive one.
When you're headed for a tricky job, don't take chances with your tools.
You're doing it right.
Rely on Stanley quality.
Doing it right.
Stanley accuracy.
You're doing it.
When everything's riding on precision, you can depend on Stanley.
Let's do it. You're doing it right.
Win a Chevy S10 Blazer and $1,000 worth of Stanley tools.
Stanley helps you do things right.
Look for the great Stanley Blazer Hunt display at participating stores.
Bigger engines were easy on oil. But today's smaller, higher revving engines are tougher. They can break down an oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. That's why there's Castrol. Tests show Castrol suffers no significant breakdown of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So use Castrol, because if you make things too hard on your engine could make things hard on you. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
If all you want from a small truck is a bed in the back, then you're not ready for this one. This guy actually handles, and I never thought I'd say that about a truck.
Introducing Mazda's new B2000 SE5. With radial tires, spoker wheels, sporty stripes and mirrors, rear step bumper, a 5-speed and a double-wall bed, all standard and all at a price close to Toyota's and Nissan's base trucks.
Are you ready for something this special? You should be.
When the Raiders have the ball, they make the defense defend the entire field, both the length and the width of it. And one of the key players who makes this concept work, Allie, is Marcus Allen.
Yeah, and he's a player that I call a pressure point player, Steve. He's a terrific threat and pressure to the defense. With or without the ball, they must honor him continuously. When he runs with it, he's pressuring the linebackers and the defensive line. And when he's a receiver, and he's an outstanding one, he now expands that pressure to linebackers and secondary.
Well, Allie, this season, Marcus Allen has accounted for 75% of all the Raiders' rushing yardage. But his ability as a ball carrier is only a partial measure of what he brings to his team. Officially, he's listed as the Raiders' running back, number 32. But that's a little like saying Hamlet was just a member of the Danish court. Marcus Allen is not only the leading man of the Raiders' offense, but his every move commands center stage. Catch, he can throw, but as the song goes, he was born to run. Watch this next play against the 49ers. It's typical of Allen. He takes the ball and heads for daylight. But when number 76, Dwayne Board, closes the hole, Allen instantly changes direction and turns what could have been a wasted play into a profitable gain. Allen has always played well against the Chargers, and here's a play you'll probably see again tonight. The Raiders linemen stand up as if to block for a pass. Linebacker Mike Green reacts to the anticipated pass and drops back into coverage. Then Allen takes the ball and runs into the area vacated by the retreating linebacker. Tonight, Allen will definitely be a factor as a runner, probably as a receiver, and possibly as a passer. Allie, that's a lot for a defense to match up against.
Especially the Charger defense, Steve. They just do not have the personnel to contain Marcus Allen. And you know, this creates a need for a different kind of a matchup for the Chargers. Their defense certainly can't match the Raiders' offense. So therefore, what they've got to do is bring about their own piece of offensive explosion. And I think, as regarding Marcus Allen, they can fight fire with fire in the person of one Lionel James. All 5'6", 170 pounds of him. He's an excellent runner, he's an excellent receiver, and at this given moment, he's leading the NFL in total offense.
Lionel James is a many-barreled weapon, pressuring a defense both as a runner and a receiver. Here, coming out of the backfield as a receiver, we see his ability to catch and the extra dimension, running with it after the catch. More pressure on a defense. James lined up not in the backfield, but as one of the wide receivers in an inside position. As James runs a deep pattern in the middle, Fouts, first looking to the outside, demonstrates his ability to read and react to the defense by firing at James, who catches the ball and leaves the pack behind. Just as the Raiders' Allen has the ability to run with the ball, so does the Chargers' James. With his explosive speed and big play possibilities, as you see here, tonight James could really present a matchup for Marcus Allen's steady, consistent rushing offense.
Allie, so you're going to match up Marcus Allen with Lionel James. You know what they say about people who fight fire with fire?
What do they say?
They end up with ashes.
What I think I hear you saying, Steve, is that Dan Fouts and the Chargers are the classic example of a team without defense can't be a championship contender, even though they have a great quarterback and a good offense. They just can't do anything more than win 500% ball, right? Win one, lose one. And on the other hand, though, I also hear you saying that the Raiders are a classic example of a defensive ball club that supports a team and takes it into contention. By the way, I got to tell you something. For an offensive star that I heard about that you were at Colorado Cottage,
be careful.
I appreciate your feeling about defense. That shows you're a real football man, really. You do. Seriously, you do have to have defense. That's proven in the NFL. You can do it with defense and an average offense. And you can be there and be a contender and maybe go all the way. But you can have a great offense, a great quarterback, and if you only have average defense, you're not going to make it. You're going to be home resting.
Coach, you know, this has been a season of strange twists. Last Monday night, the Bears had William Perry come in as a running back. Maybe tonight we'll see the Chargers use Lionel James as a nose tackle. Well, that could be a strange twist to tonight's game anyway. Allie and I will be right back with some final points right after this.
There are some special things in this world that only a handful of people can appreciate. Now, maybe you're not one of these people. But if you are, spend some time getting to know Mazda's new RX-7. But I'll warn you, it'll flat spoil you for anything else.
Introducing Mazda's new generation RX-7. Its engine has the smoothest flow of power in the world. No one has a more advanced suspension system, and no one offers all this at this price.
It's pretty special, like you and me.
If you're waiting to buy a personal computer, you may have questions about power, expandability, and dollars and cents. For the complete answer, take a close look at IBM. An IBM PC runs thousands of programs, expands easily, and prices are better than ever. So don't wait. Once you take the first step, the rest come easy. IBM Personal Computers.
In an era of situation substitution with players coming on and off the field constantly, Rod Martin is the only Raider linebacker to play every down. Allie, he's an excellent blitzer. He leads the team in tackles, and he has good range on pass coverage. I think he's going to give Fouts some problems tonight.
And I think he's going to get a good raise at the end of the year, too. All right, let me talk about Todd Christensen. We haven't said much about him, but he happens to be the leading receiver in the NFL at present. In addition to that, if you remember last week, he caught that pass, the big pass from Mark Wilson that won the ball game for them. He has the ability to get into open spaces, and tonight on critical third down situations for the Raiders, I believe you'll be looking for Todd Christensen to catch that ball. And remember, quarterbacks never forget the man who catches the big one for them.
Well, Allie, I'm sure that Christensen's going to find some open spaces in the Charger defense, but when San Diego's defense is on the field, watch defensive end Lee Williams, number 99. He's a gem and a rock pile. He has as many sacks as Howie Long. Coach, when you look at the history of this rivalry, the Raiders have won the last 6 times in a row. You think they're going to make it 7?
I don't know whether you're asking me a question
I'm
or
just
giving me a
asking you for your
statement
pick. It's very
against the
simple.
percentages,
Yeah.
6 in a row. Well, in spite of the fact that it is a tough percentage, yes, I think that the Raiders, and my reasoning is such, they do have the defense. It's as simple as that. We've talked about it, and it's been demonstrated over the history of pro football. You've got to have that defense, and they certainly have. And I think playing at home, too, there's going to be a little fever. They are a very strong, intimidating defense. And in addition to that, we haven't talked about a fellow by the name of Dokie Williams. The name alone is great. But what is his average?
Well, I think he's second in the AFC in yards per catch, 20 yards per catch.
Okay, that's another reason for me, too. I think that Dokie might pull off a couple of big plays, too, that'll help the scoring. And I'm going for the Raiders. I'm going for the Raiders, 24-17.
Well, Allie, for the first time this year, the Chargers will have Fouts and his 2 favorite receivers, Kellen Winslow and Wes Chandler in the lineup. And I think they can outscore the Raiders and win, so I'm going to go with the Chargers. For Allie Sherman, I'm Steve Sabol. Please join us next week on Monday Night Matchup.
Monday Night Matchup was brought to you by Mazda, maker of the new generation RX-7, the 626, 323, and B2000 trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value.